Hello everyone. Today I just want to share some things with you. But before I do so, I just want to pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart will be acceptable in the Lord's sight. I'm trying to make this video and I've been experiencing some difficulties because I don't believe the enemy want me to get this video out. But I will still press on, and I believe that this is something that the Lord actually wants us to hear today. Now, before I even start, I believe that the Lord has given us a blueprint for us to be successful as Christians. And part of us being successful, we are required to exercise faith. And if you ask, what is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, Jesus said that if we have faith as a grain of mustard seed, we can say to the mountain, be thou moved and cast into the sea, and it will obey us. And it also mentioned that without faith, it is impossible to please God. And also mentioned that we are a peculiar people. And when we say we are peculiar people, the world does not understand us in most cases, and our practices and how we choose to live for the Lord. It may probably seem as if it's foolish to a lot of people, even when we're discussing things of a spiritual nature. Now, if we go to First Peter chapter 2, verse 9, he also speaks to the fact that we're a peculiar people. He says, "But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praise of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." Now, brethren, I want to share a dream I had with you this morning. And it is where we're on a bus, and people on this bus had various skills and various talents. And it seemed as if we were going to fight a battle, but it wasn't a natural battle, it was a spiritual battle. And I remember the bus parked what looked like in front of a university campus. And three of us got off the bus. Two younger persons, including myself, and an older senior person were with us as well. And I remember even before we got off the bus, they equipped me with various things for me to use in this battle. But I wasn't really comfortable using these things because it wasn't something that I had tested before. And I remember one of the tools I had was something that could actually, almost seemed as if it was like a radar to detect if someone was close or in the close proximity to us. And I remember when I looked down on this thing, I saw like there was like a light beeping, and of course it was like and I knew within my spirit that like an enemy was nearby. And immediately the older gentleman who was with us, he took off running back to the bus. And we too then started running back to the bus, right? Because of course we knew then that this man was someone who was very possessed with a lot of demonic forces, right? And he was just walking towards us because of course he wanted to fight with us. And just thinking about it now, if you go to Ezekiel 34, it says, "Woe to the shepherd who have taken care of themselves, who eat the curds, clothe themselves with the wool, slaughter the choice animal, but you do not take care of the flock. Ye have not strengthened the weak, or healed the sick, or bound up the injured. Ye have not brought back the stray, or searched for the lost. Ye have ruled him harshly and brutally." Now, I think this signifies the fact that the most experienced of us actually ran back to the bus first. Now, back to the dream. Now, we all knew that this man was possessed, and then he wasn't even running towards the bus, he was just walking because he was very confident in the fact that he had a lot of demonic strength, in the fact that he had demonic forces with him. And he just took a hold of the bus, and he just tossed the bus. But the bus, of course, was not destroyed. It landed back on its four wheels. But of course, everybody in the bus was panicking and afraid. And I remember an older man in the bus, he got off the bus because he wanted to go and fight with this demon-possessed man. And he was overcome. And then another lady came off the bus, also a senior member of the bus. And I remember she also had a talent, and then I think her talent was like she was using like a symbol of love like this. And she also was overcome by this man who was very strong with demonic forces. And I was kind of thinking within myself, well, should I go out there? But of course, I felt like, okay, do I have the experience to go out there and fight with this man? And at that point, it seemed as if I was dreaming, but I was also awake. And I thought within myself, why not all of us in the bus as a group go out there to do battle with this man? Now, if you go to Esther, and I'm just giving you some context in terms of this dream. Now, in Esther, we learn about a man who was called Haman, and he wanted to exterminate the Jews who were living in Susha, which was basically the capital at that time. And he wanted to exterminate them because there was another Jew called Mordecai. He wasn't a Jew himself. Um, Haman wasn't a Jew, but Mordecai, he was a Jew. And Mordecai would not kneel, or he did not pay this Haman honor when he was passing by. And as a result of this, he was extremely enraged with Mordecai. And he thought not just to destroy Mordecai, but to destroy the entire people of Mordecai. And as I mentioned to you earlier, that we are a peculiar people, right? I read that scripture to you. Now, Esther, who was queen at that time, she was also a Jew. And of course, Mordecai came and he told her what would be happening. And what Esther did, if you go to Esther chapter 4, verse 16, she said, "Go gather all the Jews who are in Susha, and fast for me, and do not eat or drink for 3 days or nights." Now, as I mentioned to you before, we were all on this bus, and I was contemplating within myself why we don't go out and fight with this man. But I think if we as Christians should come together and we start praying as we should, we start fasting as we should, and we not just think about our own household, but think about the fact that we are waging a spiritual war against principalities and powers, and we come together and we start doing this, I think that our ability to be successful in that situation would be very much increased. Now, I'll bring to you one last scripture, and this is Daniel 3. And basically, King Nebuchadnezzar, he made a great statue of gold. And he commanded that all the Jews should come out whenever they hear, not just the Jews, all the people, all nations should actually bow down and worship this statue. Whenever they hear the sounds of music and harps, they should bow down and worship this great image. Now, you have three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they were basically, the king was informed that these three men would not bow down and serve the image which he had made. And they were brought before the king. And the king said, "Listen to me, Shadrach, Meshach," and I'm paraphrasing it now. "If you kneel down in front of this statue, then good. But if you do not, there's just what one thing to you." Basically, he was threatening to kill them if they didn't bow down to this statue. And I'll just read from verse 16 what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said to the king. "Now they answered and said unto the king, O King Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fire furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Now, we later read on that basically King Nebuchadnezzar bound these three men and cast them into a fire furnace. And even the men who were basically bounding them were killed themselves. And we later read that basically the Lord sent his angels, and he was like that angel was like a fourth man in the fire, and these men, they suffered no harm as a result of being cast into the fire. Now, if we reflect on what is happening around us now, we see so much disaster, we hear so much conflicting information. We hear that, we should do a particular thing, and there's a lot of division. And we hear also a lot of this information is coming from, in terms of what we should be doing, is coming from like those persons who are said to be learned and said to understand things. But of course, these men who bring information in terms of, they're not infallible, but God is infallible. And God is the one who will be able to deliver us and rescue us out of whatever situation we're facing. And I think it kind of bring me back to the fact that I have this dream, and the fact that I was thinking that we should just if we just go out there and fight with this man, our ability to be successful will be greatly increased. Now, brethren, I just want you to reflect on this, to know that, listen, the Lord's hands are not short that he cannot deliver, and his ears are not heavy that he cannot hear. And of course, sometimes you may find that you may have leaders or someone who is close to a leader in a particular position, And of course, you may have a policy that is very draconian and something that is not good. But that person may be afraid to approach that leader and say something to that leader. As in the case of Esther, even though she was queen, she did not want to go and approach a king without having the backing of the Lord with her. So I think it's important for us not just to pray for ourselves, but to pray for those people in our authority who may have a similar faith as ours, to say, okay, then, so the policies and whatever that is being done will be in line with the will of the Lord. So, brethren, sister, I just want you to reflect on this today, and I pray that it will bring some meaning and clarity to someone today. Thank you.